Good evening, this is Kuro. Got a ranked sprint game in my Terrapul. Going over the matchmaking. North Carolina, Tirpitz, Bismarck, Double Mogami, Benson, and Kagero round out the enemy team. This is another video just cleaning out my old games and reviewing these, looking for any, decent material for you guys. And with the Ognavoy video that I did, where I just kind of abuse a Fantastique, um, this is a video that I think has some good, at least initial positioning for French destroyers. So right off the bat, give you a rundown. I got away from running Concealment Expert. The reason being, it's almost the inverse of what normal destroyers do. Um, Most DDs want to have, the best concealment possible so they can get closer to stuff. The French destroyers, because you don't have smoke, uh, being spotted out and further out means uh, you're not you're not going to be as deep to enemy ships as you otherwise would. So this gives you a little bit more margin of safety to start kiting out and disengaging. And what I'm doing here, my team's got a lemming rush going on to AB. Um, with the French boats, I like to have lots of open area for me to kind of work in. And here, just pushing up, I've got a big speed advantage on anything in the enemy team. So I know I'm going to be the first here. Going to throw some torpedoes out over a really common area for destroyers to try to enter the cap. And then right here, all I'm doing, I'm looking to see what I can spot as far as the enemy cruisers, battleships, try to locate where they're at. This is a critical moment. DD spots me. You see that I turn out, and I turn out because um, I'm expecting somebody to shoot at me. And when nobody does, I start cheating back in like, okay, if nobody's here but a destroyer, I can push just a destroyer. Um, but what I'm looking for is, confirmation that this destroyer, what kind of support does he have? This destroyer, I know it's the Kagero, the Benson spotted over on B, and um, this Kagero smokes up. I think the Cossack is almost ready to spot him, so I think this is a defensive smoke screen that he's laying. But regardless, it's likely to leave me with and there's support, so I know I can't rush right in there because I'll end up, getting wrecked by the Mogami because this ship is very good at dealing with isolated ships. So 2v1 plus what the Tirpit's able to shoot in, it's a no-go for rushing. So just looking to see what I can do. Just being opportunistic, keep the Mogami spotted. Maybe one of my battleships can wreck him. Keep the Tirpitz spotted. And it's only once I'm in a position where I can kind of kite out, that's when I start engaging the North Carolina. Kagero, for whatever reason, decides to come out on my side of the smoke. I gotten close enough that this Kagero couldn't really leave the smoke on my side and not get detected. This is the time where you actually get serious about fighting the destroyer. You know he doesn't have smoke. You've got your main battery reload. This is when you get aggressive and really take the fight to him. Uh, I would say that anytime you have a destroyer where your question is, does this guy have smoke or not? My default would be don't rush him. Don't commit your main battery reload booster unless it's, the guys you've got radar coverage or something like that. Uh, Above all, don't commit, your hit points to, a knockdown drag out where, the enemy DD can just potentially smoke up, and that's it. So, poking back out here on C. Now, I saw shots from the Mogami. He's too close to this island, so I'm going to use this island against the Mogami. I wouldn't do this if this Mogami had shots at me over the island. So I'm going to run up through this area and just try to use this island against the Mogami as much as possible so I can have a nice one-on-one with the North Carolina. Since I'm kiting away the North Carolina, it's highly unlikely he's going to be able to punish me. And just keep slinging HE right back at him. So I'm looking, you saw me glance right there, looking to see if there were shots coming. And just looking to see, what's this Mogami doing. I know he's going to be popping up shortly. Second fire on the North Carolina. There's the Mogami. That's going to be my last shot at the North Carolina. Unfortunately, not able to follow up to see if I can get unrepairable fires on him. But with my Bismarck pushing in, this North Carolina is likely to suffer unrepairable fires from the Bismarck secondaries. Here was just taking some shots on this Mogami, seeing what I can hit. Think I'm leading just a little bit too low. Now, I should have tugged this island tighter. I plan to rush this Mogami, and I'm rushing this Mogami because look at his support. The North Carolina can't shoot me. These destroyers are too far away. This guy's completely isolated. He's not, really looking at me even. This is the time to rush somebody. I launched Torps expecting him to turn out. There's the turnout, loading AP. Now, some of these shots, I think that were a little questionable. That was too high. That's too high. Got decent dispersion there, but a couple of these shots, I was aiming low enough. Here, it's just one of those things that if I had decent aim, this Mogami already would have been dead. But this is, one of those instances where you can use your main battery reload booster to really deal a significant amount of damage to ships that you normally would never have, any business picking a fight with. Usually Mogami just craps all over destroyers, and with the way your hull saturates, as well as how much DPM you have with your AP, under main battery reload booster, it just opens up a lot of almost ridiculous moves that you can make. Now at this stage I had to kite back to finish that Mogami, but really did have kind of the impact that I was looking for. Really just I crippled the Kagero early on. Forced the North Carolina into a bad situation. North Carolina is going to get put down here shortly, and was able to wreck that Mogami. That's what this ship does. It just, all the French destroyers are just really good harassing destroyers. This captain, I think it's a 16-point captain. I'll put the full build in the description below. If you've been watching, I don't have last stand on the captain. The buffs that Wargaming made to the durability of the engine and the rudder, it's good enough that you're able to get by without running last stand for most things. Now, if I was running this destroyer in competitive, I probably would lean towards running last stand just for that extra bit of insurance. But that's something for me to test out at a later date. By giving up by giving up Last Stand, I'm able to run both a full gun build with Demolition Expert, plus plus still pick up Adrenaline Rush and Expert Marksman, which can help with how fast some of these destroyers are. Keeping your guns on target is pretty important with this ship. Um, so running through, you can kind of see the damage. Um, it's these French destroyers. They're just really good uh, at harassing things. It's a premium, so here's the premium page. So you gotta or the credits and XP, so you kind of see how things break down. Um, but this ship, all these French destroyers, just like with the Japanese torpedo boats with torpedo reload, if you don't have smoke, your positioning is absolutely critical because that's your safety net there. If you get too deep, you're gonna get wrecked. If if you're not aggressive enough, you're not gonna have enough impact over the game, and like you really are on kind of a razor's edge. And if you're not riding the that fine line, you're either going to be, you know, get wrecked early and be ineffective, or you're going to live all game and not deal effective amounts of damage where you have an impact of the game. So um, French destroyers, amazingly fun. Uh, some of the most fun ships that I've played destroyer wise in a while. I really do love this line. Um, but again, unforgiving as far as your positioning. That's why I wanted to pull this game, just because it's got what I consider fairly good positioning, at least through the early game and sort of into the mid game. At the end, I was obviously kited out too far to get the Mogami kill, but by that point the game was won anyway, and the Mogami was just a bunch of XP at that point. So anyway, if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them below. Again, gonna leave the build description for the randoms build that I use for the French destroyers in the description below. Let me know if you have any questions on that. Hope you guys are having a good night, and I will talk to you later.